Welcome, horror fans, and thank you for downloading The Horror Show. Sit back while your hosts Sean and Joe take you back in time to review your favorite and not-so-favorite horror movies from yesteryear. With their own twisted comedic view, your host will remind you why you loved or hated those classic horror movies and other horror-related events. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to The Horror Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to The Horror Show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Guys, this is it. Part 3. I know you've been waiting on bended knee for this. This is it. Our third and final installment of anthologies.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about, so we talked about Creepshow. We talked about
Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat. Two of our favorites of all time. Yeah. All-time horror movies and then definitely anthology.
And after watching these, that still stands.
Completely stands. These by the way, these are by no means, we watched every anthology and came up with this list. This is based off of our memories of watching these and really hadn't seen them in quite a while, besides Trick or Treat, obviously, and Creepshow, which I feel obliged to watch probably once a year.
Same. Yeah, same.
It's one of those weird ones. So today
Tina just told me she's never seen or heard of Creepshow.
Yes, and so did my wife. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
We talked about that.
They just hate
good things.
Good things.
Hate fun.
They hate fun. How do you see the Creepshow box and not rent that?
I don't know.
A ghost at a ticket booth. It's inviting you.
Just saying,
it's the perfect invite.
Yeah.
Take my $275. I'm renting this. So we're going to be talking about some anthologies here. There are 3 other ones that were kind of on our list of very fond as kids.
Yes.
Tales from the Darkside.
Yep.
Campfire Tales, which actually I had not seen, but Joe had seen it and said it was pretty good, and I wanted to see it, so I put it on the list anyway because I was like, yeah, I want to watch that. And then
Tales from the Hood.
Tales from the Hood. A lot different than when we first saw these, huh?
All of them were a lot different.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Tales from the Darkside especially, I had a real fondness for that, and I was like, I need to see that.
I'm gonna stop watching things that I haven't seen since I was a kid, just because I want my memories to stay.
Yeah, Tales from the Darkside, like seriously, when we were putting this list together, I was like, I can't wait to watch this again. I remembered the gargoyles, didn't remember anything else, I don't think. No, definitely remembered nothing else until I rewatched it, and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember this. But I remember being like, I love this. Like I saw this multiple times as a kid.
Yeah.
So where do we want to start? Do we want to start from best to worst? Leave on a negative foot for all of our
do we
fans?
have the same definitive list of best to worst?
Well, what did you think of Tales from... I think we know where Tales from the Darkside stands for both of us.
Okay.
And I think we know where Tales from the Hood stands. What about Campfire Tales? What did you think about that?
That would be in the middle of both of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tales from the Hood is my favorite one.
Okay, so then let's go from worst to best.
Okay.
So let's talk about Tales from the Darkside.
Okay.
What a letdown.
Yes. I couldn't agree
letdown.
more.
Yeah.
Total letdown.
Total letdown. What a disappointment.
I will say before we go into anything, it was fun to see how many fucking people are in this movie.
Man, they got everyone.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know.
That is a star-studded cast.
I don't know. So this was released, I don't even have the year.
It was 1990.
1990. So, man, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. I guess horror was just alive and well, and these people were like, I want in. Stephen King.
Yeah. I don't know how they got all those people as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's start off.
It was only a $3.5 million budget, too, so they couldn't have paid those people too much money.
Wow. That's really low. Wow. Huh. 35% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 45% from fans.
You know what? I saw that too, and I was expecting it to be like 85%.
So did I.
I always thought it was held in high regard.
It's always one of those ones that, yeah.
But the TV show was held in high regard.
And for us, it's usually, if we hate it, it's usually critically acclaimed, and if we loved it, it's
right.
Like The Dredge.
Yeah.
You can't even find like a link for it anywhere online.
Right.
There's not even a Wikipedia page for it. But this one's kind of like it's definitely more of a fan favorite than critic favorite, but not really highly regarded as I thought. And by the way, so there's 2 creep shows, and there's actually a third creep show which came out in like the 2000s, which we don't
talk about that one.
Yeah. But
this was supposed to be the third creep show.
Well, I don't know if it was supposed to be,
considered.
But Tom Savini says like, this is it. This is what me and Stephen King say should be the third creep show. If you want to call it Creep Show 3, that's fine by us.
Right.
So I thought that was crazy. That was just crazy. I don't know. But we start out with we have our backstory, which is Matt Lawrence in chains in Debbie Harry's
from Blondie fame.
Debbie Harry's kitchen cage. She has a jail cell in her kitchen. Yeah. Perfect. I mean, I guess if you do what she does, if you eat children,
it's probably the most convenient place for
probably,
you.
yeah.
But I feel like
then they're talking to you the whole time.
Yeah.
You're getting prepped. Like, and anyone that comes over and comes into your kitchen.
There's no way to justify, like, even if you don't have someone in the cage at that time, there's no way to justify why you have that fucking cage.
Keep my animals in there? Yeah. Like, what the hell? So we don't find out a lot about this backstory, just that Matt Lawrence is reading from a book called Tales from the Darkside, which Debbie Harry gave him to just keep him quiet, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, when you're stolen from your parents and your life is in danger, you're just going to read a book. You're just going to chill out and read a fucking book.
Remind me when we talk about Campfire Tales, there's something I thought of. I was like, if I was in this situation, this is not what I would be doing.
Probably all of them.
Well, yeah,
but the movie was whatever. We'll get to it.
Yeah, reading stories out loud to my what do you call that? Whoever has me captive is not on my priority list.
No. So Matt Lawrence is basically using these stories as a stall tactic because she's trying to get the oven ready to cook them. So he's trying to buy some time by reading stories out loud to her. And we read Lot 249.
Yes.
A tale about a mummy.
Which is actually adapted from Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I'm curious how adapted works in this situation. My guess is very loosely. My guess is he wrote a story about a mummy, and that's what they took from it.
I am pulling it up right now, and it's about a college student who reanimates an ancient Egyptian mummy. So it looks like it's pretty similar.
Oh my god,
and he sends the mummy to attack people who he holds a grudge against.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, wow. Congratulations. You've ruined a Sir Arthur what is it?
Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah. You've ruined his legacy with this one. So Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore in her first role.
Yep.
Christian Slater. Yep. Anyone else in this?
The other guy's name is Robert Sedgwick. I didn't care enough to look up.
Yeah, me either. So we have these characters. Julianne Moore plays Susan. Christian Slater is her brother, Andy.
Yep.
Susan is dating a guy by the name of Lee. And Steve Buscemi plays another nerd at this college named Bellingham. We find out immediately that Susan's boyfriend, Lee, has cheated.
Steve Buscemi's character.
No. No. The other character. Yeah. Steve Buscemi didn't cheat.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they cheated him. Yeah. They basically ripped him off for this Pembroke scholarship.
Yeah.
They talk about this scholarship more than anything else in this movie, and it really doesn't have much to do with it. Like, you don't need this much. Like, they are talking about it. Like, to the point where I don't even know what happened. So, she wrote the essay for him, so that's cheating. But at the same time, Bellingham, Steve Buscemi, was like, I didn't get the scholarship because I was in Egypt. I was like, so what? Who got cheated here? I don't
I know.
It made no sense. It was so weird. But so we find all this out. Everyone's kind of got a grudge against everyone. Everyone's kind of pissed off at each other because Christian Slater doesn't like what's going on. Whatever.
They're all assholes.
Yeah, but we find out they go over to Bellingham, but they're all friends at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
Like, they swing by Steve Buscemi's place to say, like, what's up? Got the scholarship, bitch. And, like, it just makes no sense. But we find out that Steve Buscemi, while in Egypt, has purchased a mummy. Because you can fucking do that. You can just go over there and buy a sarcophagus.
Could you imagine?
A mummy. And ship it back to the United States, like, with no questions asked. Like, hey, what's in this giant box that weighs a ton? Oh.
It's just a sarcophagus.
Just a mummy I bought out here.
Just
for shits. Yeah, I'm not bringing it to a museum. It's going to actually sit in my studio apartment for a while. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it after that. So he buys this. Crazy. And he reads a scroll. He starts reading from this scroll that he finds inside of the mummy. And the mummy comes to life. Starts walking around. He ends up killing Lee. None of these kills were really that impressive either. I liked the mummy, though. I liked the special effects for the mummy. Classic old school mummy. He was dusty and, like, brittle.
I was going to ask you at the end, and you can feel free to answer at the end.
Yeah.
We've been trying to search for a solid mummy.
This wasn't it, but I mean, at least it wasn't CGI mummy, which I can't stand.
No.
Like a mummy running around.
Why would you waste CGI on a mummy?
Why do you waste money
just buy
on
toilet paper?
Anything? All right, so we're going to go off topic here, but you know that Dracula Untold movie that recently came out? It was all CGI. Like,
I didn't see it, but I'm familiar with
it.
The
previews were literally 100% CGI.
Yeah.
That was made by Universal, and they were trying to make an entire series of, like, the Universal monsters reinvented. Great idea, right?
Phenomenal idea.
Why would they do that? That was the start of it. And now they're canceling all the other ones because that one didn't do well. It didn't do well because it looked like shit.
Yeah.
It looked like garbage. Dracula doesn't need CGI. He doesn't need 1 billion bats flying around him. That preview had millions of bats.
You can go to Toys R Us and complete the entire costume design for that movie right now.
You could go to Party City and have an amazing Universal Monster costume.
Exactly.
It'd be amazing.
There's no need for any of that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the same goes true with this. You don't need CGI to do a mummy. This is a perfect example. This mummy looked like shit, and rightfully so. That's what it should look like. They should break.
Mummies should not look clean.
They're 1 billion years old. And they should not have full range of motion.
Covered in dust and smell like shit.
Yeah. So this mummy kills Lee. So at that point, I mean, when the mummy wakes up, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize he was, like, doing Steve Buscemi's bidding until he killed Lee.
Yeah, I thought he would wake up and just be a loose mummy and just terrorize the town.
Yeah, and this story is just, like, really just, it goes nowhere after this. Christian Slater's, like, he's kind of onto it. Then the mummy kills his sister. Now he's really onto it. And you're just like, what the fuck? So Christian Slater ends up confronting him. He lights the mummy on fire, burns the mummy.
He burns the scroll.
He burns the he's got Steve Buscemi tied up, and he's saying, "I'm going to burn this scroll." Like, and Steve Buscemi's pleading with him, "I'll bring your brother and sister back to life." He kind of hesitates, so you don't know what happened. Besides that, he burned the scroll. Then we see Buscemi driving away in a taxi. So he obviously let him live. He was going to kill him. He makes the most terrible joke, basically saying, how did he not know Pharaoh age parchment paper from Victorian age parchment paper? What an idiot. Like, what an ignoramus. So it turns out he's still got the scroll. We cut back to Christian Slater. He's sitting in his apartment, totally okay with the death of his sister and best friend. And he gets a knock on the door, and it's his brother and sister.
Brought back.
Coming to get him. And that is the end. What'd you think about that? Like, that was like the biggest letdown for me. I'm watching it. The kills are not terrible. They're not great. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, this maybe could pay off at the end. And there was no payoff at the end.
I think it had potential and it just didn't live up to its potential. Like, that story could be really sweet.
Yeah. I think one of the problems I have with the anthology series is anthologies in period. If they're not done right, they all leave them kind of open-ended. That's like the point of them. So that way they could cut back to the narrator who's like, ooh, that's spooky. Wonder what's next up. Right. Like, they're all kind of open-ended to make you think like that. And this one just didn't do it well.
No. I think as a kid, I didn't remember much going back and watching this. But I think as a kid, I must have loved it because I loved mummies. But just watching it now did literally nothing for me.
Yeah, and I think this falls into... Well, it falls into like kind of like that creep show thing where it was easily accessible. You could easily rent it because the cover wasn't that bad for your parents. And like we talked about with Creep Show, like it was a good one to like kind of rent for your friends to like blow their minds. But it's not as good as Creep Show.
Right.
So
how do you feel about Christian Slater in general?
Okay. So I don't like Christian Slater. I don't care for him. I don't. How do I say this?
Impartial?
Yeah, I just don't. Doesn't matter. Working actor.
See, I like him. I don't know why. Because every time I watch a movie with him that I watched when I was younger, like Gleaming the Cube, like what?
My wife loves Christian Slater. So does she has the biggest crush on him. So that I was actually going to tell this story. She, while we were talking about this, she was like, "Oh, I own that movie." I was like, "You own Tales from the Darkside?" Pulled it out. It's still in the wrapper, but I pulled it out. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Why does she have Tales from the Darkside out of all the movies? She's a big horror fan. She got a lot of horror movies, but Tales from the Darkside. And I was like, oh, I'm watching and I see Christian Slater. I was like, she bought it for Christian Slater. She bought it because it was a Christian Slater movie. There's no other reason she bought this.
He's like the poor man's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, and the other problem I have with Tales from the Crib, or Tales from the Darkside, so many tales. Tales from the Darkside is... Yeah, he is a poor man's Jack Nicholson, by the way. Yeah, that's a good
drawl.
Yeah, and the oh my god, yeah. The narrative in this one is not good.
No, and I agree with that. Like,
it's terrible. Like the cutscene. So we cut from this, obviously, and you go back to your narrative, and nothing happens besides him being like, "Wait, I got another story."
Yeah,
that's literally what happened.
It was too choppy,
and she's like, okay, tell me another story, I guess.
Campfire Tales pulled that off better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. At least they had although there's something...
This would have benefited if it had the Crypt Keeper telling the stories.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but all I can think of is when it cut to Matthew Lawrence, I was like, I don't want to see the Lawrence brother. I want to see the Crypt Keeper.
I want to see anything that would entertain me in between them. All the other ones had nice, like... Even if they were goofy or stupid in between, at least, like, were fun to watch. This was just like... Debbie Harry would be like, okay, well, it's time to eat you. And then he'd be like, wait, I've got another story. And she'd be like, I guess one more story. What is happening?
Dude, if I'm hungry, there's no way I'm going to be held up. Why can't you eat?
Imagine if your pasta was like, wait, let me tell you a story. I'd be like, no, you're going in the pot right now.
I am hungry.
I really don't care. These stories are terrible. As a grown woman or a grown man,
imagine the book's not going anywhere.
Yeah, like, I could read these myself.
I'll read this after I eat.
And by the way, have you ever listened to a little kid read a story? Well, you do. You're a teacher.
Every day.
It's painful.
I know.
It's so painful. So many skipped words.
There's no way that
story would have made even less sense with
not even skipped words, dude. So many sentences would be repeated. You get like to the last word of the sentence, and go wait, and go back and start over. Oh god.
Yeah, I would never. I would have lasted 2 sentences into that mummy story, and I would be like,
"You're getting fucking eaten."
After him trying to say Pembroke about 1,000 times, Pem. And if he got through that and he had to say scholarship, I'd be like, all right, in the pot. Get your ass in the pot. Shut the fuck up. Oh, God. So we go from that to Cat from Hell.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Another one. So we talked about this last week, actually, where I said, a good movie you don't have a lot to say about. Because it's just so good. Like, you just don't have a lot to talk about. It's the crappy ones you can talk about all day. I have to say, this breaks the rule because I just don't know what to say about this story. This Cat from Hell story was so goddamn stupid. It lasted so long and nothing happened. Nothing happened except William Hickey riding around in his wheelchair complaining about cats.
Yeah.
And being like, I want the cat dead. And then the guy being like, okay, I can kill a cat. And then him being like, well, this is a different kind of cat. Dude, what? So William Hickey.
We talk about how he hires a hitman, like
for a cat.
Like, I didn't even think about that while watching that. Like, why not just call like an exterminator or just throw some money at some bum on the side of the road and be like, I have a cat that I want you to kill. Not an actual hitman. That's so much money you have to pay.
George Hickey's rolling around. He's hired a fucking hitman to kill a cat.
Who is played by the lead singer of the New York Dolls, who probably more people know as Buster Poindexter, who sings the Hot, Hot, Hot song.
That's so crazy. That guy was just all over the place, huh?
Dude, I think he's in a Hulk Hogan movie.
He is. He's in a lot of movies. He plays the bad guy in not Suburban Commando, no, Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny, yes.
Yeah, who has the metal head. So stupid. He was actually in a lot of stuff in the 90s. He was just branching out, man. He had the look of a crazy person.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he is crazy.
Yeah.
I saw his bandmate yesterday at
really?
Chiller, the guitarist of the New York Dolls.
Yeah, we'll probably
also
talk about
looks
Chiller
nuts.
later. Really? So Cat from Hell hires his hitman. He thinks these cats kill people. This cat, not even cats, just this cat.
Yeah.
Kills people. He mentions that we see this scene of the cat about to kill somebody, and William Hickey's narrating it. He says, they say cats take people's breath away. So I'm thinking, this is like a magical cat and kind of just walks by you and kills you.
Yeah, and you stop breathing.
Yeah.
That
would comes and kisses you and you're dead.
Or actually sucks your soul out.
Yeah.
Like, that would make sense.
Right.
Well,
what we see is a cat like out of SNL jump with 4 legs on his head like a face hugger from Aliens. And that's how he kills him.
It's like that dog from Something About Mary.
Yeah, it's complete, and it's stuffed, obviously. And this cat is just on its head, and people are just trying to shake it off, and they can't get rid of this cat.
Did we mention this was written by Stephen King?
Yeah, and it makes sense.
This would like work better as like a story.
Yeah,
that's not meant to
that
be.
is like most of Stephen King's stories turned movies.
Yeah,
Night Flyer. Like that's one where you just visualize it in your head and you're like, what does that guy look like?
Exactly.
And then you see the movie and it's this horrible makeup.
Like you read a story about a cat and like that, you know, that could be terrifying, like a simple creature that kills you. But then you see the movie and a cat jumping on your face.
Well, right, and you know Stephen King wasn't like, and then the cat leapt onto its face and fucking attached itself to you. No, that didn't happen. Also, we were talking about why you would hire a hitman. This cat, for all intents and purposes, yes. Is a normal cat that just kills people. Because in other scenes, the cat's walking around, like goes and eats. Just poison its fucking food.
There was a really simple
in one
solution.
scene, the cat walks and just starts nibbling on its food. And I was like, what is this? Is this really a cat? This is just a cat that kills people? Like, that's it. It's a real cat that kills people. Not a magical cat. Nothing. It's just a cat that murders human beings. So he hires this hitman. The hitman is going nuts trying to kill this cat. He just can't do it. Every time he's got him dead in his sights, I don't know why I didn't kill it. He misses somehow and shoots a TV right next to it. Can't get rid of this cat. The cat, oh boy. The cat clings to his face also, kills him, and then proceeds to worm its way into his mouth. Like dive headfirst into its mouth. Yeah. And we see this cat going into its throat. It's one of the better scenes in the movie, for sure. I loved this scene. I thought this scene was crazy. Just the special effects were nuts. And
the end of this is... Before we do that, can we talk about the people that the cat killed real quick?
Yeah.
One was the librarian from Ghostbusters. Did you pick up on that?
No.
The lady at the beginning.
Really?
And one was fucking wheelchair Salamanca from... Breaking Bad.
Are you? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He's also
the
landlord in Ace Ventura.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he's in. Oh my god, yeah.
He's the guy that Ventura.
And this cat kills them with complete ease.
Yeah,
it's crazy. No one can stop this cat from killing.
I just wanted to bring that up because we talked about how star-studded it was.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call them stars, but they're in other
No,
things.
but I mean, like, well-known actors, working actors, character actors.
But yeah, as Sean said, the cat goes into this guy's mouth. But it's not a magical cat, so how's it fitting down his throat?
I don't know.
Like, I can't fit a cat.
I don't
I can't fit a cat in my mouth.
No, I don't know. William Hickey comes back in the room, and it's like, oh no, and he drops his pills, and the cat gets him too.
Well, the cat comes out of the corpse, and it gives him a heart attack.
Yeah,
That's
how it kills it. Which, like, that's what I expected from the cat, like giving people heart attacks. Like, no, but the cat's not actually doing anything.
Dude, you really? You hear what you're saying? You expected the cat to give people? It's not a scary looking cat. Why would it give people?
No. I mean, like, the cat's not doing anything physical. Like, the cat's just in the room. I know that guy's having a heart attack because he just watched the cat come out of a human being.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, when he said takes their breath away, that's what I imagined. Like, the cat walks by, very cat-like, and everyone just like is like, oh, and keels over, and like everyone thinks it's a heart attack. If a cop comes across this scene, they're going to say, this cat is murdering people. This person has claw marks all over their face and chest, and this guy, a cat went into and came back out.
right.
Crazy. They would put this cat down. Somebody would eventually kill this cat. Whatever. Terrible story.
Second story done.
Oh, guess what? We come back to Matt Lawrence, who has another story. Debbie Harry obliges. Did I say that word right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Debbie Harry says she'll listen to one more fucking terrible story. And by the way, Debbie Harry says these stories are great, so take that for what it's worth. She clearly wasn't listening. Lover's Vow is our final story. Another gem. What's this actor's name? Do you have his name?
James Remar.
Yeah, he plays a fellow by the name of Preston, who we open up to building a house out of popsicles. I'm thinking
He has special needs.
Or a really shitty architect who's decided to do things the hardest way possible. I'm going to design this building out of popsicle sticks. I'm going to design this model out of popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
Turns out he's an artist. I wouldn't buy shit from him. He goes to this bar to meet his agent, and the agent essentially fires him because he's a washed up artist. None of his paintings are selling. And if any of them look like this piece of shit popsicle house, I wouldn't buy anything from him. So they're at this bar. He ends up getting sloshed with this other guy that's sitting there. And the bartender finally kicks him out. On their way out, a fucking gargoyle comes down. I kind of liked that. I liked how strong the gargoyle was. Like,
I like that
literally
he used
just
gargoyles.
one swipe and the guy's head fell off. One swipe and the guy's hand starts.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
A fucking gargoyle.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a fight. It shouldn't be a struggle.
Yeah.
This thing just ripped its head off. Like, it was 3 swipes and this guy was missing every limb of his body.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The gargoyle confronts Preston, our artist, and says, if you tell... I don't know why the gargoyle would do this, though. The gargoyle says, if you tell anyone about this, you can't tell anyone about this. I think he threatens to kill him, right?
Yeah, but why doesn't he just kill him? Or
that would be the easiest solution.
Or just go back to being a gargoyle. And nobody's going to believe this guy.
Right.
Why talk to him?
Right. This guy's going to tell the cops that a gargoyle killed him, and then there's going to be a nationwide manhunt for gargoyles.
The gargoyle's so concerned about the guy snitching, getting charges pressed against him.
Like, what is... Oh my God, it's so stupid. So Preston runs home, terrified out of his mind, and he meets a young lady who he's like, you got to get out of the streets. I can't tell you why, but just run. Guys, this is New York City, early 90s. You're not doing this. You're not believing anything this guy has to say. You're stabbing him and running away. Also, you're not doing this to other people in New York City. If you're a New Yorker, you're like, fuck you. You're bait. You're bait.
Yeah, I'm out of
here. I'm going home. I'm going to fucking sleep and not telling anyone. Not the case.
I agree 100%. I just want to say I'm still hung up on the fact about how much better this segment would have been if it circled around the police investigation of hunting of a nationwide gargoyle hunt.
I would have loved
Looking
that.
for clues.
I would have loved that. That would have been so funny. So there's actually in the ABCs of Death, which I wanted to give props to at the end of this because it's a decent anthology if you want to call it that. In it, they have one of them is it's not even V for vampire. It doesn't make sense, but it's a POV of a vampire being hunted, modern day.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the ABCs of Death.
It's so good, but it's POV from the vampire's point of view, and you see these humans like, where the fuck do you go? They're chasing them through the woods. It's so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and like I would have loved to have seen that with a gargoyle, like just an entire nation being like, fucking kill every fucking gargoyle.
How do you kill a gargoyle?
You will smash them.
Oh, okay.
How do you kill a gargoyle? Yeah,
smash every
just
gargoyle.
smashing every gargoyle in New York City. How time consuming would that be? Yeah, everyone would just not believe him. They would be like, "Guy, we can't do this." Are you telling us you want to smash every gargoyle? By the way, this gargoyle can fly and just leave. And fly to another country like France with a shitload more gargoyles.
Why doesn't he just do that instead of tell this guy not to? Whatever.
Well, it makes no sense. So he meets this girl. He brings her in for the night of raucous sex. They're really having a night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of flash forward. I mean, he starts becoming more successful. Good things start happening to him, which is not explained ever, by the way. You think that something has happened that like maybe the gargoyle, I don't know, something happened. All of a sudden the guy's an overnight success.
Just popsicle houses are a big thing.
Yeah,
now.
most famous painter in the world. He asks this girl to marry him, which seemed like a week later. Like, it was so weird. We actually cut 10 years later and the guy is like a millionaire, like super successful. It's the 10-year anniversary of their wedding. They've got 2 kids now. It's very sweet. His agent is back. It's very funny. Ha ha ha. Remember when I fired you? I'd get another agent so fucking fast.
I would too. No way, bring him back.
Yeah. And by the way, that guy was super pissed at his agent that he fired him. Dude, you weren't making money. What did you want your agent to do?
I know.
Just hang on to you for nothing?
I know.
Like, so it makes no sense. He sits his wife down and he says, I got to tell you this. It's been 10 years. The night we met, I watched a fucking gargoyle rip a man to pieces. There's no reason to even tell anyone. Like, I mean, I guess you would want to.
Well, I guess if you saw someone get murdered, you might want to talk about it.
I guess, yeah.
But, after 10 years, wouldn't you, like you personally, Sean, like be like, maybe someone put something in my drink? Like, maybe there's something off about that night? Like, I did not see a gargoyle.
No, because the other guy was like, remember, the other guy at the bar confronts him in the middle of this story and is like, he was ripped to shreds, and you told the cops you knew nothing. And he was like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, you're right.
But it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the whole fucking thing doesn't make sense. So he tells his wife this, and his wife is the gargoyle, and she screams, you promised to never tell. His kids come out, they're fucking gargoyles, and they're crying gargoyles. And it's almost sad because it's like,
it's just really funny.
It's almost sad because it's almost like they don't want to be gargoyles.
But what? But what?
But why does she have to kill him?
No, but why did he? Why is she the woman? Like, like why did the gargoyle say, "Don't tell"?
I almost just spit my drink everywhere.
Why did the gargoyle say, "Don't tell anyone," and then turn into a woman, and then marry the guy he told not to tell? And now I was real upset that he didn't tell anyone. He told her. Who is the gargoyle? This is not telling me. There's no need to kill him. Only she knows.
If he had told a shrink about this gargoyle incident, do you think it would have counted against him, like patient doctor confidentiality?
No, I'm sure a shrink gets told that like once a year.
Somebody watched a gargoyle.
Somebody saw a gargoyle come to life.
That's the end of this story. He kills the guy and they fly away. Her and the baby gargoyles fly away.
My hand is over my eyes because this story, like,
it was so stupid.
I don't get it. I still don't get it. I don't understand.
It was really stupid. Not a fan of this movie at all. Oh, wait, we should finish the epilogue.
If some kid told me this story and held up my dinner, I would eat them so fucking fast. Even if they weren't my main course, I would just eat them.
Yeah. It was so stupid. And so we see Matt Lawrence again. Debbie Harry's like, okay, that's it. I'm going to cook you like I promised 3 times already. And Matt Lawrence says, I've got one more story. there's a little boy and he was selling cookies and then he got stolen. And you're, okay, so he's telling his own story. Then he says, he says she slips on marbles. Then marbles appear and she slipped on them. So he's writing the stories now and they're coming true.
Yeah.
Very clever. And I mean, he pushes her in the oven. It's Hansel and Gretel.
Exactly.
It's Hansel and Gretel. But the worst part of this
is he breaks the fucking fourth wall. He looks at us, the audience, and says, "Don't you love happy endings?" No, fuck you. I wish you got eaten.
And this isn't a happy ending.
An hour ago.
This is a happy ending would have been turning this off
yeah.
5 minutes in and saying,
happy ending
we've made a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
We've made a terrible, terrible mistake. Not a great movie.
Nah.
Really big letdown.
Disappointing.
For me.
Yeah.
Super disappointing. Oh boy. And that's where we start off. It only gets better for Joe from here because I hated Campfire Tales.
Okay. Wait, why were you shocked in the beginning when I said I would place them in between? You thought I would place that at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would put Tales from the Darkside over this.
No.
Strictly over nostalgia. Okay.
Right, we'll talk about it.
We're going to do the first half of Campfire Tales, then we're going to come back, finish Campfire Tales, and then we'll finish it up. So, Campfire Tales, let's start off.
See, when you said that before, I thought you were going to place Campfire Tales at 1.
No, absolutely not. Oh my God. A lot of familiar faces in this one. We got Amy Smart, James Marsden, Chris Masterson's in it.
Christine Taylor.
Yeah, Ron Livingston. So a pretty cool cast, especially for how early it was. None of these guys were really made yet, I don't think. Oh, 97, right?
97,
yeah. 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, no critic reviews.
Okay.
We start off with something that never comes back into the story. We start off with the old hook hand story.
Yeah. Well, this whole movie is basically just actual urban legends.
Sort of, yeah. And one story completely plagiarized, okay. Which I will be.
I know you will.
I'll get into in a little bit. But so we start off with the tale of the kids making out at makeout
point. In the 1950s, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this is the setup.
Nah.
No. They do the whole hook hand story. I'm not going to explain it to you guys any further, but they drive away. They think there's a killer on the loose with a hook hand. The girl thinks they see him. They drive away. They're eating burgers at their favorite joint. Yep. They look at the car door and the hook is attached.
Yeah. Yep.
Which, by the way, you've kind of neutralized this killer. So you guys are kind of heroes. This killer doesn't have much to do anymore.
There is no way that you're not hearing that. It's fucking metal against metal.
Yeah, I know. It's a fucking terrible story. But it's fun to tell when you're a young kid.
It is, but I don't understand. Like, why are you telling people that, like, this guy has to be crawling, like army crawling, for you not to be able to see him, just to open the door. They just have to stand up and whatever.
Yeah. And honestly, it would take a lot to kill somebody with that hook.
Yeah. Wait. Is that's the sole thing that they're saying?
I think so.
Is killing him, or it's just a guy with a hook hand that kills people?
Well, maybe it's that.
Whatever. It's so irrelevant.
Yeah. And so is this story to the rest of the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because never comes back. Not even mentioned. Nothing. I thought it was going to maybe come back at the end.
At the end, yeah.
No, they just crammed this in the beginning. Like, I don't even know what they were doing. Maybe it was supposed to be one of their stories and they just didn't have time. But then they included it. Okay. So now we just straight jump to a bunch of kids driving.
Like maniacs.
Driving like absolute maniacs. They're going camping or going to a lodge or... I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing. Weren't they coming back from a concert?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no...
No. Yeah. No, they're coming back from a concert.
The campfire is strictly made out of necessity because they get into an accident.
They veer off the road, yeah.
They veer off the road. They get into an accident. No cell phones at this point. So they're just... They have to just wait for help.
Yeah.
So they magically make a campfire. Yeah, they light some flares by the road, make a campfire.
They find an abandoned church, and that's where they make the campfire.
And... they decide to tell some scary stories because that's what I want to do if I'm lost in the woods.
I'm glad you said that because there's another story and this part where the sense of urgency is so poor. Like, go find help.
Yeah. They also, another weird thing, I was just thinking, they're reading a newspaper, which was like left on the side of the road, and it says like there's a serial killer on the loose.
Yeah.
Never comes back.
No. It just shows
Why you'd be shitting your pants and why they would not be telling a story.
Exactly.
What is happening?
I'm slowly changing my mind to lean towards Tales from the Dark Side.
This is so bad. So they decide to tell some really spooky stories.
Yeah.
The first one is called The Honeymoon, starring Ron Livingston, who's in an RV for his honeymoon. And he has a terrible New York accent.
And they're driving through Nevada.
Yeah. Which I did not know also until the end. But so they're driving through. They decide to go to this weird park. And this guy comes up to him and basically says, get the fuck out of here. You don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Shit's going on around here.
They took his wife or something.
Why would you not listen to, like, even if that guy's nuts, that man is nuts. And he's next to you. And he's in the park with you at night.
Exactly. Exactly. If you don't believe his story, there's still him.
There's still him who has claimed that monsters are stealing his wife, and he is pissed that you're there.
And he has a weapon.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And he claims he's going to like take these beasts on. Like, guy, he's going to kill you. Just leave. Just fucking leave. So they actually end up trying to leave, but the car breaks down.
Because he siphoned their gas. Or that's what Ron Livingston thinks.
That's what Ron Livingston thinks.
Okay, but the reason I brought that up is because he thinks this man siphoned their gas and that he just told him a story about a killer. And what does he do? He bangs his wife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, yeah, let's just stay in the RV.
This guy just stole our gas. We have no way of getting out of here. Let's fuck.
Yeah, and this is their honeymoon.
There's nothing.
This is their honeymoon.
I'm as big as a fan of having sex as the next man, but that is not the time I'd want to be doing that.
No, I'd be panicking. I'd be crying.
I need to go find help immediately.
Oh my God. So Ron says he's going to go out, try and get some gas, and is attacked by something. We don't really know what. Yeah. Do we ever even find out really what they are?
No, it looks like the Creeper. Jeepers Creepers.
Fuck. So he makes a run for it, but we presume he's dead. The thing is chasing him. He's trying to get back to the RV, and we're presumed he's dead.
Yeah.
We get a knock at the wife's door. He had said he would knock 3 times if it was him, but this is knocking like 4 times.
Yep.
So she's very nervous. She doesn't open it up, and all shit breaks loose. They're trying to break into the RV. They're coming through the top. She maces them. Which was...
They're making such terrible noises.
Yeah, and she stabs one of them. Oh, yeah, the noises are awful. Oh, my God. And then she ends up turning on an alarm.
Yeah.
Like a rape alarm?
Like big bats or something. Like they don't like noise.
Yeah, and that keeps them at bay until daylight.
Yeah. Until she falls asleep. Dude.
How could you fall asleep?
I don't care how tired you are.
How could you fall asleep? Not only are you just... were you just almost murdered by monsters, you have an alarm blaring all night.
I know. There's no way you fall asleep in that situation ever.
And honestly, they could have made this story more terrifying if she were just like sitting there awake for 12 hours.
I know.
Until daylight.
You can keep hearing noises.
Yeah. You'd hear them outside all night. Oh my God. But alas, she's okay. The cops come, they pull her out, and they say, don't look, miss. Just keep going straight. Just keep going straight. She looks up.
Ron Livingston
is hanging there, and his ring is dragging across the top of the RV.
See, I thought that was sweet. You didn't like that?
No. Because they didn't really make a point of the ring dragging. Dude, show her in that RV all night, hearing that ring
you're
dragging across all night, or her losing her mind.
You are 100% correct. I have nothing else to say. You're 100% correct.
Instead, it shows it at the end, and I was like, was that bothering her? Were we supposed to know that was happening at any point in this?
But he looked kind of sweet.
It looked great.
The makeup was pretty good.
They had good intentions.
Here, I'll save it for the end. Keep going. The second story is my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah. Again, another scary story because they're not terrified enough yet. So, this second story, dude, what did you just say? It's your favorite of the bunch? Dude, this story should This story, it was my favorite until a few scenes when I was just very troubled by the whole thing.
All right. So every time I go on Reddit and somebody tells like a creepy story, the story's always told.
Really?
Dude, always.
I didn't know this was a story.
Yes. Like
that people like.
Dude, every time somebody like posts like a scary like urban tale,
Really?
this is always the story.
Really?
Yeah, and I've forgotten this was in this movie too.
This story is cuckoo bananas. This story is nuts. Okay, so nice family, loving family, very happy. It's young Amanda, the day before young Amanda's 12th birthday.
Yep.
Her parents are going out for the night. Her sister's going out for the night. So she does what any kid does, hops on the computer. By the way, this is 97.
Yeah.
And she's using like an instant messenger client. First of all, I hate when movies make up their own technology. And it's always just so bad. Like Clarissa explains it all making video games.
Yeah, I know. Sam
You
making
stupid
I know.
jerk.
With them.
It's not that easy. Especially back then. It was like the most impossible thing in the world.
So hard.
Yeah. And it was ridiculous. But anyway, so this was
So
like
do you
pretty.
remember that on Nickelodeon, that TV show where
Yes.
wait, you know what I'm talking about?
I know Nick Arcade.
Yes, and they were in the video
It
game.
was the best show ever.
Oh my god, I wanted.
And you had to like punch that fucking. You would be like ducking
How
bats.
did they do that?
I don't know. That was ahead of its time. They should really bring that back. Because imagine if it was like, okay, you're going into Call of Duty right now.
That's probably why they don't bring it back.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Fuck.
we're gonna simulate war against you.
I can't believe you knew I was gonna say that. Wow,
It was one of my favorites, man. I loved that. The games they kind of like rehashed, and I always remember there would be a lot of games I didn't know.
You had a duck from Animals.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of games I didn't know, and then games I did know.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, pick that, and then always pick like King Tut's Quest. And I'd be like, what the fuck is King Tut's Quest? That makes no sense. the real ones, like, because there'd always be like a Bubble Bobble or something in there.
Yes.
And you'd be like, please pick that. And they never did. And it was probably because they couldn't do that. They had to do their fake games. But it was so good. And all the trivia was video game trivia.
I know.
And the kids were so stupid.
As soon as we finish recording this, I'm going to watch
The
it.
kids were so stupid. And they were always like, it'd be like, who is the plumber dressed in red? And they'd be like, ooh, Donkey Kong. And they'd be like, oh, Lamar Burton hosted it, I think. And he'd be like, ooh, no, it'd be Mario. And you'd be like screaming at the TV, you fucking idiots, you fucking assholes. But back to this terrible movie. Nick Arcade. Let's just dissect Nick Arcade for a minute. It's so much better than this movie. Although going back and looking at it, we'll probably have a lot of complaints too.
Of course.
So she's using instant messenger, and it's very simple and it's very nice. And it's foreshadowing a technology that comes very quickly or during this, really.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And they even had like avatars. It's pretty cool. So she's talking to her buddy, or well, I guess we find out she doesn't actually know this girl. She's just talking to her.
Yeah.
And she's telling her a little bit too much, foreshadowing what's going to happen. Why don't you take it from there? Because this was your favorite.
So the girl's name was Jessica that she's talking to. And then it is revealed that it's not actually Jessica. It is a child predator. Who is living in like a dungeon. It is the most child predator-ish
Yeah, it
living
really
arrangement
was.
I've ever seen.
If I were a kid, this would have scared the shit out of me, though. He had dolls everywhere, and he was just sitting in the dark with a computer, and he had VHS tapes of her.
Of
Oh
her.
my God.
Of her.
Yeah.
So he's been like watching her and filming her
Yeah.
and taking video, like I just said, filming her. So then we find out that her parents are going to go out and her teenage sister is going to be watching her.
Yeah, and the sister's going out for the night.
And the sister's going
She's sneaking
So
out, though.
yeah, so she's supposed to be watching her, but
Yeah.
the sister is going to meet her boyfriend and leaving her alone. So the girl Amanda starts playing soccer in the backyard. And is she talking on the phone? Does she have
Yeah,
a
she
cell
is.
phone,
She
or
is.
it
No,
just
it's a giant house
one of those-
phone.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking on the phone, and then she kicks the ball into the bushes.
Yeah.
Those bushes. One thing I noticed is those bushes are so deep. It was almost like a joke. Like,
It was like Narnia.
yeah.
This child predator lives in Narnia.
Because she's looking for things and just like crawling under and going to a new world. But yeah, the ball's lost behind the bushes. She's trying to find them. She's looking for the ball, and as she's looking for it, you see the hand come out.
Yeah.
And the man's hand is like almost brushing her hair. I don't know if it's exactly making contact, but
I don't think it is because that's what I thought too. It was really weird. He's very close to her.
Super
You
close.
you would feel that.
You would 100. Well,
That's your sixth sense.
However, when you're looking for things, like there's branches over your head.
Oh, that's true.
And,
That's true. That's
like,
true.
You already
Oh
have
no,
stuff all in
totally,
your hair.
totally, yeah.
So you're thinking she's gonna get abducted like right then and there.
Yes. This is where I start having real issues with this story. And the sexualization of this 12-year-old is out of fucking control. Joe. This is so close to child pornography. It made me feel so uncomfortable. Joe's going to argue with me here. Here's where we go wrong. She takes a shower. She goes inside.
Okay.
She says, I'm going to take a shower. The guy starts creeping around. This is getting close. He's getting close. You kind of get a sense that he might even be in the house at this point. She's in the shower, already kind of weird. They do a shot of her coming out of the shower with her towel around her chest like a grown woman. Like naked walking around in a towel. Dude, come on. Just put her straight in PJs. Like, I don't need to see that. Then we get her blow drying her hair in a towel.
I know.
This is so sexualized.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
But that was their point. Like
there's so many close call nudie shots for a 12-year-old. The worst part is even make her like 18. I mean, I guess that takes away from the sexual predator nature of it, but not really because sexual predators, it doesn't matter what age you are. It's awful.
This one was real done because I think you're supposed to feel this way. Like you're supposed to feel dirty because it's basically like this girl's about to be abducted and you're seeing it from like the predator. Like,
dude, they do the scene that you only see in an adult sex scene where she drops her towel and you see her ankles. Joe, it's not okay. It's not okay. And then she's like trying on dresses like naked. Like, what the fuck? What? Well, maybe you're right. Maybe they were like, maybe the fans won't understand that being a sexual predator is wrong. So let's make them feel really creepy about this. Oh my God. But continue, because that just bothered the shit out of me. Like, I felt so gross watching this.
Sean is absolutely right. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. But we know the predator's close. She goes to the garage to look for her
dog.
bicycle.
Her dog goes missing. Her dog barks and runs out.
I thought but didn't she look for her bike?
No, she ends up finding the bike.
And
she's like,
okay.
yes.
The dog, okay, you're right.
Yeah, there's a big, there's like a close call scene where she's about to remove, like, there's a big blanket draped over something and you think it might be the killer. She yanks it off and it's just her bike.
You're right.
And that's supposed to make her feel better. She's been hearing noises. Her dog's missing. And when she sees the bike, she's like, oh, everything's okay.
Yeah.
That's all it was. What? No. What are you talking about?
So she goes back to her bedroom because she feels that somebody else is in the house.
Yeah.
She goes back to her bedroom. She locks herself in the bedroom. What does she see on the mirror?
I couldn't read it. I found out after, but it says people
can lick too.
Yeah.
And she has her hand hanging off.
Letting the dog lick it.
But it's not the dog. It's a fucking dude that's just licking her
Who
hand.
is terrifying looking.
He is, but there's something about this that gives me the chills because so scary. Even sorry, I'm getting like flustered. Something even more terrifying to me than like being killed or like it's just some fucking weirdo who's not gonna kill you, just be weird and like lick you.
Yeah, and loving every second of it, like really having the time of his life. Yeah, no, this is the best story in it, and it is really terrifying. Once they started showing these naked scenes with a 12-year-old, and I'm thinking, I couldn't get my head back in it, like. I couldn't. I was scared. Like I was scared for that purpose. Like I was just scared that this poor girl's on set naked.
Yeah, you thought about that way more than I did.
Yeah, no, it was bad. But this movie is really, well, you know.
And then he escapes out the window, right?
Yes.
So he's still on the loose.
Yeah, you know.
And what do they find under the bed?
Oh, the dead dog.
So he killed the dog.
Yeah.
He killed the dog so he could take the place of licking the girl under the bed.
Just some harmless fun. Just some harmless fun. Just a Friday night harmless fun. Kill somebody's dog and lick their hands.
You imagine lying on your bed as like, not as a 12-year-old, like an adult.
No, now I'm getting the chills.
It's just being
it's so fucking weird.
Being licked. It's just some weirdo.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Probably play the theme song to Nick Arcade, and we'll be right back. We're going to finish up Campfire Tales, and then we are going to finish up probably one of our top. I would even include it in the creep show level, Tales from the Hood.
I loved it.
Loved it. It was so good.
Fantastic.
So stick around, guys. We will be right back.
I would like to scan all of you in this room, one at a time.
Scanners. 10 seconds. The pain begins. 15 seconds. You can't breathe. 20 seconds. You pray it will end, and it will. Experience the terrifying power of scanners. Their thoughts can kill.
Certificate X, showing in the West End from next Thursday and all over London from May 3rd.
All right, guys, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. This is going to be a little bit longer of one, and it kind of might feel a little bit weird. We're recording this on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Which is weird because we had some stuff come up. Life happens.
Life happens.
And then you record on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So, with that said, we're going to finish up Campfire Tales. We're on our third story. The Locket.
Yeah.
This is where I had
you
to,
this
is where I had to,
furious
I was so mad about this. So we see a guy going on a cross-country motorcycle excursion, and they play the worst song ever during that. Do you remember it? It was like this insane ballad. It was definitely like the producer's kids band or something. It was so fucking terrible. So his bike breaks down. He finds himself at this house. He's greeted by a woman who can't speak. Her name is Heather Wallace. She can't speak though. She's mute. Is that a mute?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, man, there's something weird about this story that I just can't put my finger on. It's very familiar though. So everything about it is very familiar. So I'm watching and I'm like, I think I know this story. It's really weird. So he goes into the house. This guy's having weird visions of almost like murderous visions. But don't worry about it. I'll just stick around a little longer. Yeah. Murderous visions are fine. Him and Heather Wallace are getting very close, very intimate. They end up sleeping together, and that's when everything goes haywire. He has another vision of the dad killing somebody.
Yep.
Either the daughter or the mom. She said her dad is away, and her mother's dead. So you kind of have this idea that something's happening there. So he's very concerned, and he approaches Heather, and she writes on the window, "Ghosts." Reasonable explanation. He then witnesses the exact same thing he just dreamt again, which is the dad coming into the house, screaming like, "You whore," and slaughtering her, and then dumping
the head into the
well, and then he jumps in himself, right?
Yeah.
So weird. So they're all ghosts. So her dad isn't away like she originally claimed, which is weird. You think you'd just be upfront with that, especially since there's ghosts in the house. This guy's going to find out. And then it just keeps happening like Groundhog Day. These ghosts keep happening and they kind of keep focusing on this girl in her locket. She's wearing this ribbon around her neck with a locket on it.
Yeah.
The guy's like, "We got to go." I mean, this whole fucking story, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. Because the end is, this whole thing with the ghosts does nothing.
No.
It's no point to the story other than making them leave the house. And the ghosts are like, sometimes they see the guy and try to kill him. And then other times they like walk right by him like, "How do you do, neighbor?" What the fuck? Like the ghosts sometimes acknowledge him and want to kill him. And then sometimes don't acknowledge him and just walk right by him and keep repeating the same cycle of murder over and over and over again. But it doesn't matter. None of that matters in this story. What matters is They escape. They go to this park, beautiful park. She's sleeping on his lap. He takes off the locket, looks in it. It's a fucking picture of the two of them. That's weird. She stands up and goes, "What did you do?" And her fucking head falls off.
But why is he in the locket?
Oh, nobody fucking knows. Because the story makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Whatsoever. Are they both ghosts? Who the fuck knows? Because then it makes no sense that the dad wouldn't acknowledge him. Don't worry about it. What I do know is this story was completely plagiarized.
By?
Our fucking guy, Alvin Schwartz, who did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. He also had a children's book. I use that term loosely. This should not be read to children, but it is called In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories. And this is called The Green Ribbon. And it is this story. It is this story. And I feel like the locket. So in the Green Ribbon, they meet when they're babies, these two, and they fall in love from babies to childhood. They're in love the whole time. He takes off the ribbon and her head falls off. Fucking crazy, but it works.
I love that story.
It's such a good story. And I loved it as a kid so much. And this movie, this episode, like they included the picture of them. And I think that was to say like, oh, we've actually been together for, I don't know what they did. I think they were changing shit on the fly. I think they ripped off the Green Ribbon beginning to end, right? And maybe it was like more of a ghost story of him. And then I think somebody watching it was like, no, more ghosts. We need more ghosts. Just fucking throw in some dead people and an axe murdering dad, and that'll be really scary. Awful though, awful. And they ripped it off, and there's not a single credit attributed to Alvin Schwartz, and that is a fucking crime. That is a fucking crime, dude. I was like considering trying to reach out to his family because he's deceased. Reach out to his family and be like, you need to sue whatever this production company is for your fucking money.
Oh, Campfire LLC?
Yes, that. But Dimension was the distributor. Okay. I don't know if you could get any money from them. But yeah, I guess you'd have to go.
New Line.
New Line, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. You would have to be going after Campfire LLC, which I'm sure is doing a booming business now. Huge booming business.
So that's the last of the Campfire stories.
Yeah, and that pissed me off so bad. And dude, I knew it. And as soon as her head fell off, I was like, what the fuck was that story? And luckily I Googled, thank God for Google. I found it. And I was like, those fucking rat motherfuckers. I'm so pissed, dude. I was so fucking mad. I posted a thing online on our Instagram account. So, it's I Hate Horror, I think. And what was funny about it though was people liked it, but then I started getting a lot of little kids, like 12 and 13-year-old girls were like, "Oh, I love this story." And I clicked their profile.
Instagram?
Yeah, go look.
Serious?
Go look. They're just randoms. Like they just found it and they're like, "Oh my God, I love this story." And I clicked their profile and they're like 12 or 13-year-old girls. And I was like, "Oh my God." And like my comment on the picture is like, Campfire Tales is bullshit for stealing this fucking story that I loved so much. And these little kids are like, "Oh, I love that story too."
Well, they shouldn't be on Instagram.
No, they definitely shouldn't be. But well, whatever. Yeah, it's weird. But that's the end of it. Now, Joe, why don't you bring us through this epilogue? Because I fucking hated it. I don't even want to talk about it again. I don't even want to hear you talk about it. I might turn off my fucking microphone.
You still hear me talk. Sitting right next to you.
Turn off my microphone. I haven't plugged my ears.
So after all the stories are told, the main kid decides to go back to the road to see if anyone stopped to see if they're helping with their car. The rest of the kids start to vanish, and their campfire has disappeared. They are all gone. So when the kid returns to the road, he sees himself near the car. They have not been telling campfire stories. They have been dying in a car accident because he was drunk driving.
Yeah, they said they found a lot of empty cans in the car.
So this is all just happening as he's dying. Shitty way to spend your last couple of seconds.
Ron Livingston does have an RV though, and is on site.
And you see the characters from the stories driving by. I don't know why. It doesn't tie anything together.
This is insanely sad. This is a really sad ending. No kids deserve to die from drunk driving. And they really, guys, this isn't just like a gloss over, like, and it was actually him dying. This is like a very heavy, like they linger on this scene for a very long time.
Yeah, the paramedics are trying to resuscitate him.
And his ghost goes up. Well, see, I think he's going to survive. But his ghost goes up to the other kids who are definitely dead and is like, sorry. You're like, fuck. He just killed 3 innocent people.
But it's okay, Sean, because you know what drives by? The car with the hook on it.
Does it?
Yes. That happened 40 years earlier. Wait, you didn't notice that?
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh my God. I fucking hate this movie. I fucking hate this movie so much. That is terrible ending. Terrible. That is so stupid.
The paramedics are cleaning up and the car drives by the accident and there's a hook from the fucking window.
I was probably just shaking my head. I couldn't even notice. God, man. Guys, whatever you do.
I wanted to say that I ranked this. I don't know where I ranked this now. But I thought that it was kind of fun. And I thought that this is a good movie if you're like 12 or 13 years old to watch, especially as a guy, because it has some nudity.
Yeah.
The stories are kind of fun. Like, I just thought it was a fun, like, gateway horror movie.
Definitely a gateway horror movie.
Like,
I would show this to my son all day, and it also teaches him not to drink and drive.
Yeah, so I kind of liked it.
I guess it's not terrible in that aspect. Yeah. But really, I mean, movies like VHS, ABCs of Death, and even Body Bags rank well above these two for me. These two are just... Yeah. I mean, I would check it out, I guess. No, I don't know. It's not really not worth your time.
You know what? I liked it a little bit better.
Show it to your kids.
People Can Lick 2 was great.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it.
Yeah. People Can Lick People 2 was good. Now let's go to
Tales
the gem.
From the fucking hood.
The gem. Rotten Tomatoes score, 38% critics.
Okay.
Boo. 68% fans.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
This was totally worth that grade. I think it's worth way more. I saw this when I was so young. Totally holds up. Racially, politically charged.
Okay, the social messages.
Yeah,
in this,
socially charged.
Each segment is perfect. Like, you're right. What's happening right now with like the riots that are going on, like everything just, it's still relevant. And
so relevant.
The story,
and sad.
It was sad. It was depressing. It was like hard hitting. And at the same time, it was like fun to watch.
Entertaining.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah, you can kind of put that aside. Just knowing you were watching a horror movie, you could kind of put that aside.
It was a great anthology. Like the way it tied together was fucking great.
Yes, it was a nice, good story that entertained you. And at the end, you wanted to know what the fuck was going on with these people. So with
like Trick or Treat did in a sense. Like everything was like kind of going together.
Yes.
And like the narrator, like not the narrator, but like the kid. Yeah, the narrator and the kids that were in it. Like everything just went together. It was
and I mean, let's just get this out of the way now. When I was a kid, I knew this affected me, and I knew I really enjoyed it. But I knew it also was kind of heavy on the heavier side. But rewatching it, it's depressing to know that there's a group of people. Like horror is meant to. You're supposed to relate to horror movies, so that way it's scary. Like The Strangers, I relate to them. I've been in my house by myself. I would fucking hate it if people in masks were trying to murder me.
Right.
That's what horror's supposed to do. I would hate it if a shark was killing me on the beach. I would hate it if Pennywise was eating my kids. All of these things are relatable, and that's what makes them scary. When we get into these stories, to think that these are relatable to people,
I know,
is terrible.
I know.
This is relatable to a group of people, and that fucking sucks.
Yes.
That fucking sucks, and that weighs on you in the movie. And I think it was supposed to, and again, you were right. They somehow do that, and it's still entertaining.
Yeah.
God, that's good.
Yeah, they pulled it off well. And it wasn't, well, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it clearly wasn't a big budget. It was $6 million. I had just pulled it up. $6 million budget, made $11 million, but wasn't a big budget, and they did a lot.
Yeah,
they did a lot with it.
They did. Great stories too. So let's just jump into this. Our narrative in this is we have 3 gangsters at a funeral home who are told to go here to pick up some shit
in South Central LA.
Yes.
And keep in mind, this is 95, so this is like the height of like the gangsta West Side culture.
Oh yeah. And this mortician answers the door, and he looks insane. I would have just walked away.
I love this character.
He's so good.
He's perfect. He's
I would love to see him more.
Yeah.
I would love to see this guy in like 8 other movies.
He was great.
He was so fucking good. So he's got this crazy hair and this crazy look.
Crazy eyes.
Yeah, and he says he's been waiting for him. They say,
he tells him he's found the drugs in the alley. See, I mean, I'm not a big time drug dealer, but if somebody's like, "Hey, I found these drugs in the alley,"
just come in.
No,
no, just come into my funeral home. And it's a crazy looking person. Yeah. And they say, we're looking for our shit. And like the whole time, this mortician is just going, yeah, shit. And he is like so mad. Like I would be like, okay, you know what? Maybe this was a bad idea. But just the way you're saying this is just not good. Not good. But I guess we find this out later that they really couldn't run away.
No, they
but we find that out later. But and the mortician keeps referring.
And they're talking about like if he tries to fuck him over, they all have their guns on him. So
So
kill him.
Yeah, we definitely know that these guys are gangsters. But the mortician is kind of dragging things out, and he's taking them around the funeral home as he's leading them to their shit. And at each, what do you call those? Like visiting areas?
Yeah.
They're for wakes. He shows them the caskets of who's there. And we start off with Clarence. And heavy story.
Like this kind of goes with Tales from the Dark Side. If I'm trying to buy something illegal, I don't have time to hear your fucking stories.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
just give me my shit and let me go.
But at least this has an explanation.
Of why they couldn't leave. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At least there's an explanation here. There was no explanation for Debbie Harry not just devouring this child. So we get to hear the story of Clarence, a black cop who...
It's his first night on the job.
First day on the job. He's a rookie, and he's surrounded by a bunch of corrupt cops.
Yes. All white.
Can we just talk about these cops? So there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
One is a very Italian-looking man with a dark black mustache, black hair.
Yep.
No, that's about it for him. We have a skinny, crackhead-looking one who I swear he's been in like a million movies.
He's the guy that killed Brandon Lee on the set.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is this before or after?
After.
Wow, that's weird.
I'm
And they
actually
gave him
curious-
another gun.
I know he took like a full. So that happened in what, 93?
Yeah.
So he took a year off. So I'm wondering if this is his first movie back because he didn't want to like do.
And
anything
I
acting.
decided to
And
be
they're
a
just
cop.
making him fucking fire guns.
Okay. That's weird. But this guy is like a skinny, very strung out, does not look like a cop at all.
Yeah.
Looks very weird. And then another guy who's their leader for all intents and purposes.
Such a dick.
Such a dick and just a hillbilly somehow.
Yeah.
There's an Italian, a hillbilly, and like some cracked out city cop.
Yeah.
So weird. Such a weird group. But you have to have the hillbilly so he could be a racist and call him boy all the time.
Right.
The entire time. But we see these cops. They pull over a
Sharply dressed African American.
sharply dressed African American who clearly has done no wrong. He ends up being sort of a Reverend Al Sharpton type of character.
He's a city councilman.
He's a city councilman.
He's a civil
Okay.
rights activist.
Okay. So I didn't know if he had a position in that because I thought he was like the mayor at first, and then I was
Just
like,
councilman.
yeah, okay.
But he's crusading against police corruption.
Yes, like big time. Like he's arresting cops left and right,
Yes.
and these cops are not taking kindly to it,
Right.
and they beat the living.
the
It was
shit.
so brutal.
Yeah.
It was such a brutal scene. Like it is not okay. The young rookie cop tries to stop him. They say, no, we'll take him to the hospital.
They made the claim that he tried to go for my gun. The cop's watching. The rookie cop is watching him. Why even lie at that point?
No,
Like,
it was
I'm racist,
crazy.
and you're not going to do shit about it.
Yeah. And so they end up actually taking this guy not to a hospital, but to another car where they inject drugs into him. And that's it.
Yeah, and he dies.
And he dies. They give him an overdose and leave him in this car for dead to be found and end his reputation, his life, and everything else.
And we see in a newspaper in some years,
Yes.
they say that he's like I think they call him a hypocrite.
Yeah. Yep. It's fast forwards just a weird amount of time, And our buddy...
it's a year, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. And Clarence is like out of a job, but like they don't really explain it. You just see Clarence is like unshaved and a drunk.
He's drunk now.
Yeah, he's just
clearly
a drunk.
tormented by not doing anything to help.
Yeah, definitely. Big time. He's walking by and he sees a big painting of...
Yeah, it's a mural of
Yeah.
Morehouse.
And he says, "Bring them to me."
Yeah.
He's hearing Morehouse's voice. He ends up luring these cops to a gravesite.
Because he has a vision of him crucified.
Yeah.
It's saying,
Yeah,
"Bring
which is
them to me."
weird. Yeah. Morehouse, so Clarence somehow lures them out. They don't really explain it, but
Yeah,
you know
why
what?
did
The
they
more
all
the
three of
better.
them meet them there?
The more the better. You know what? I'd rather have you not explain it than try to explain it and make no sense.
Yeah, no, this story works.
Because like if I saw that the story was he wrote them a letter and was like, "Hey, you three, meet me in the graveyard," you'd be like, "No," or "I'm coming with my gun drawn. I'm just going to shoot you."
Yeah,
but better left unsaid.
right.
And that's what they do. So he lures them over to Morehouse's grave and he says, "We're going to give our final respects to him." The cops decide to
piss all over the grave. The grave. They're such dicks. And the Italian cop is such a pussy. He's such a pushover. He loves sucking up to this guy. So he's the last one to go piss on the grave.
Yep.
Starts pissing, and a fucking hand comes out.
grabs his dick.
Grabs him right in the junk and pulls him in.
Yeah,
Pulls
so
him into the ground.
smashes his head into the grave
into the
a couple
grave,
times and then pulls him in and then shoots him back out. Or no, yeah, shoots back out with a coffin.
The coffin, he's in it.
Yeah, and Morehouse is now standing on top of the coffin.
He's a pretty sweet looking zombie.
So awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. And I actually loved their zombie in this because their zombie was a lot more magical and it was kind of awesome.
Control shit.
Yeah, and like the cops trying to kill him. They drive away. They drive out of the cemetery, down the street. They look behind, and he's somehow standing behind them as they're still driving. They look back again. He's closer somehow, but he's not walking. He's just like standing there. They look back, and he's on the back of the car.
I know.
And it's
awesome.
so wild. He makes him crash.
Oh, and when he came out with the corpse, he has his still beating heart
Oh
in
my
his
god!
hand.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like fucking
Yeah, I
Indiana
forgot about
Jones.
that. He's got the cop's fucking heart. So ridiculous.
Yeah.
So crazy.
He cuts off the ringleader.
Yeah, he
cuts off his head.
Rips his head off.
I mean,
through the car after they crash. So all we have left is the little cracked out guy that killed Brandon Lee. He's just running around. He's panicking. He runs into where the bums are, the crack area.
Yeah.
Morehouse levitates heroin needles, used heroin needles, and shoots
him like darts.
Shoots him into darts into this cop, crucifying him right next to him on the
mural.
on the graffiti mural.
Oh, and he shoots one that goes right into his mouth. Yeah.
Oh, it was so brutal to watch. This is where things get a little weird. I would have been okay with that just being the ending.
Being the end.
But he turns into a painting.
Turns into a painting. He goes, "Welcome to my world."
Yeah.
Kind of Freddy-esque.
So I guess it's kind of cool. Like he is now trapped in this painting for the rest of eternity. Crucified.
Yes. I like the story and I love this movie. But I would have liked this. Let me talk this out. I don't know where I stand on this. I think I would have liked it to end there. But he goes to Clarence and he starts to strangle him because he didn't stop the cops when he could have.
Yeah.
And then we shoot to an asylum. And Clarence is in the asylum and the people talking outside of it are saying he was a cop who killed his partners.
Yeah,
killed three cops. So was this all in his head, or was that part of the zombie's punishment?
I think that was the zombie's punishment.
Think so?
Yeah. I think he framed him for it because the guy was probably like, the zombie killed him. He killed him.
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't like this end because it also is like, I don't know.
I do like that he went after Clarence, though.
Yeah, no, I do too.
I like the message of.
I wish he killed Clarence.
I do too.
Yeah, but I guess this is an equally good punishment.
I like the message of, especially with everything that's going on today. Like, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying cops are pieces of shit or anything.
Yeah.
But you always hear about like people like, well, there are good cops. Yeah, and maybe they should. Some of them, when they see something going on, should probably be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Shit. So I like
stop it.
I like that.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was definitely good. We go back to our guys in the mortician. He takes them to another viewing run. Now, we don't see the body of this one. We saw Clarence. They zoomed into Clarence, in his casket, but they won't show us the body of this one. And the three guys seem pretty disgusted at it.
Yeah.
And that jumps us into our next story.
Boys do get bruised. This one we could probably sum up quickly because the main gist of it is there's this new boy in school.
Yeah. This was powerful, man. This was kind of tough to watch until the end.
He seems quiet. He seems sensitive. He immediately gets bullied being the new kid in school. Kids are dicks. And his teacher is noticing that he's showing up with bruises around his cheeks and his eyes.
Yeah. The teacher's noticing this. He's trying to bring it up to basically anyone. He's trying to get the kid.
He's with the nurse.
Yeah. And the kid is also drawing pictures of monsters.
Yes. And
claiming that the monster is the one that is doing this to him. Obviously a red flag for any teacher or any human being in this world.
Right.
So the teacher decides he's going to go talk to mom and dad about this. He's going to go over to the house with them.
But before he does that, the boy keeps coming with bruises and he's drawing pictures because one of the girls in his class says when she has monsters or things she doesn't like, she draws pictures and crumples them up and then they can't hurt her. So he draws a picture of the bully Tyrone. Crumples it up, and then Tyrone's taken away in an ambulance.
Right.
So you know this kid has powers with his
drawings.
His drawings. Yeah.
So the teacher goes over. The mom is friendly.
Yeah.
She's coming on to him.
Played by the girl on Friday.
Yep. And the teacher ends up bringing up the monsters, and she loses it. She tells... What was the boy's name? Walter. She tells Walter, get your ass out here, Walter. Walter comes out. She says, I told you never to talk about these monsters. Like, just stop it with that. Then in walks Dag, David Alan Grier.
Dag.
He comes in.
He was great in this role.
You know, he was, but there's something, very serious role.
Yeah.
He's playing an abusive father.
Piece of shit.
A dad that abuses his kid every night. And by the way, there were scenes in this.
Was that his son?
Oh, yeah. Stepson? Well,
he's just a boyfriend.
Oh, he's just a boyfriend.
Abusing a kid.
Even worse.
Yeah.
There were scenes in this where you would see the boy terrified, crying in his bed.
Yeah.
Crying in his bed.
You see the monster
because the monster's coming in.
Yeah.
He's opening the door. And that always affected me so much as a kid. Like, this poor kid, he's just sitting there crying. And so David Alan Grier comes in. He's playing a very serious role, but when you hear his voice, you're just waiting for comedy to come out of it. And that does not happen.
Yeah.
It does not happen.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like, his voice is so comedic. Like, it's just, he's always comedy. But he comes in and he tells his teacher, basically, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Teacher says, he's talking about this monster. And David Alan Grier says, I'll have a talk with him.
Yeah.
He has a talk with him, all right. Monster goes up. David Alan Grier goes up to the bedroom. The teacher's left, but the teacher's thinking about coming back in. David Alan Grier goes upstairs.
And he starts beating the shit out of this kid.
It was tough.
Beating the shit out of the mom. Takes off the belt. He's whipping them both. He's so angry that the kid drew a picture of him as a monster.
That's what he's pissed off about.
He's mad about.
You draw people
you
like
think it's funny to call people monsters.
And he beats them they're upstairs. He beats them all the way till they're downstairs in the kitchen, and he's still beating them. His punches to the mom were brutal to watch, though.
Brutal in the sense that they look like they hurt, or they're terribly choreographed. Because
both.
Okay, because I thought both did.
Yeah, like awful. Yeah. The teacher ends up coming in though and saving the day. He gets his ass kicked.
He gets his ass kicked.
But it buys Walter enough time to. He takes his piece of paper. He folds it. This was the best. Folds. So he's got the monster's arms. Folds the piece of paper, creasing the monster's arm. David Alan Grier's fucking elbow bends backwards. Yeah. It was amazing. It was the best thing I've ever seen.
He starts doing it limb by limb, and all his limbs are just contorting in every which way. He's just a big pile of shit on the floor. He twists the
paper, and his body spins around. Yeah. And he's a giant mess. He crumples up the paper.
David Alan Grier is... When I say a giant mess, I mean he's literally just like a lump of shit. He's still talking.
He looks worse than Basket Case.
Belial. That's what I thought of too.
Belial. He looks exactly like a giant Belial, except worse even than Belial. So ridiculous.
He does not look worse than Belial. Don't be ridiculous.
So, and that's it. And the teacher,
then they light him on fire.
Yeah, the teacher hands Walter the piece of paper and says, or they say, what are we going to do about this? They're going to find him. And he says, no, they're not going to find him. He hands him the piece of paper, and Walter lights it on fire, incinerating his corpse.
And even though the end was kind of silly how he looked, I love that story because just
heavy.
Yeah, it was heavy.
Heavy and a nice, but at the same time, it was relief. You got your revenge. The story closed.
I like
and that was
wasn't
it.
A real monster. Like, I mean, he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to word that because he is a real monster.
Yeah,
like,
but
he's a real life
not
monster.
a monster.
Not like
monster,
a goblin or ghoul.
Yeah. And I thought that was really cool. It was just a powerful story, and it worked, and it closed. It opened and closed. Only complaint I had was their final thing in that was, what are we going to do? They're going to find him. So they're not going to find him. And they burn the paper, which burns him. Yet his burned up corpse is in a casket at the funeral home. Oh, but now, yeah, I got it now. Okay, cool. So, yeah, that's the end of that story. The mortician is still dragging him around. These gangsters are getting pissed, though.
Yeah.
No more stories, old man. This is it. We just want our shit, and we want to leave.
Yes.
He ends up telling him one more story.
No, he tells him two more.
Wait, the racist dolls.
Yep. And then
oh yeah. Oh my god. That
what was his name? Crazy K.
Crazy K. Oh my god.
That's my favorite story, by the way.
Yeah. Let's just gloss over this doll one.
All right. I do want to say that this is called KKK Comeuppance. I would desperately wish it was just KK Comeuppance with another
with a K.
Yeah. But I love that Corbin Burnson. He plays a racist, obnoxious Southern senator and a former member of the Klan. And is he running for office? He's
rerunning for office. Yeah.
He's rerunning for office. I love that they named him Duke because during that time, David Duke was running for president.
Oh, really?
Yes, and David Duke was a member of the Klan. He's a Holocaust denier. He's an open racist, and he was gaining many votes. And this was big. Like Ice Cube talked about it on his record. I just love that they named him Duke.
I can't believe that story. That's so funny. I was honestly about to make the comment: Who would run for office that's a member of the KKK?
David fucking Duke.
That's crazy. Was he running for president or senator?
I believe he was running for president.
Oh my god. Fuck. Sometimes democracies are not okay.
He was. He had a office position, David Duke.
What?
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. Well, you can talk briefly about.
Oh,
we gave the introduction.
Yeah, so you have this senator who is living in a plantation to run his a plantation known for its slaves that were murdered there, to run his campaign out of. Like, you think you'd have an ounce of decorum to, if you're running whatever. See, my whole argument's gone now because of this David Duke guy. Because clearly no one gives a fuck.
Right.
It's so crazy. But anyway, so this guy's running for office. He's openly racist. The townspeople are telling him, though, you're in the wrong fucking house because that house is haunted and the dolls are going to kill you. He doesn't know what they're talking about. They explain to him that all the slaves in this plantation were murdered when they were actually set free. When the government set them free, the owner just slaughtered them all. And an old woman put all of their souls into these dolls that she had.
Yes.
And the dolls have never been seen since or anything like that. But there's a big mural of the woman and her dolls in this house. This guy's not afraid of it. We see the dolls kind of coming into action, though. They start appearing in the house. His aide dies falling down the stairs, and the doll just happens to be there. And eventually, this guy just starts losing it because he's finding these dolls everywhere.
Yeah.
They're following him around, and he just can't get rid of them. He fucking shoots one. You don't see the dolls moving yet. They just appear in these places. It's kind of mysterious. My favorite scene in this, though, is he gets all pissed. He can't explain what's going on, and he's getting pissed. And he takes up an American flag and hits the woman in the painting's face.
Right in the face. And she starts bleeding.
The painting starts bleeding.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck, that's amazing. That's such a great effect.
Yeah.
Now, though, the dolls are alive. The dolls are alive, and they are pissed.
Yeah, I liked it. I don't know why. I always like Trilogy of Terror as another anthology. It has a doll that comes alive. I love it.
Yeah, which one of our fans, Joe, says is his favorite. We're not going to do shout outs because it is so late.
Yeah. Let's speed this up.
Be like
I do want to say David Duke. He was on the House of Representatives of Louisiana. He ran for president in 88 and 92.
And this takes place in Louisiana.
So
yeah.
And not only was he a member of the KKK, he was the Grand fucking Wizard.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
You should be in jail.
He's a piece of shit. And people were voting for him.
That's terrifying.
In fucking 1992. All right, go on.
Oh God.
Well, let's wrap this one up.
So the dolls end up coming to life and they devour him. They eat him.
Yeah.
They're eating him. They're not trying to kill him.
Yeah,
They're eating him.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And then the lady comes out of the picture and she's in a rocking chair just watching as they're eating.
Yeah, that is a great story. I love that
But again, I love that they made him David Duke. Like, he's clearly
It's so
supposed to be
awesome.
him.
Yeah, I'm really glad that that's a true thing because I was about to bash that.
Each one of these stories has dealt with something that is very rampant in the inner cities, in everything.
For sure. It's crazy. Final story.
The best.
Yeah, very weird.
For me.
Very fucking weird. So fucking weird. A story. So the gangsters are super pissed. Let's go back. So we're back with the mortician after the last story. Yep. The gangsters are like, that's fucking it. We're going to kill you. He says, I just want to show you one thing. They open up the casket and the gangsters kind of pause. He said, oh, do you know this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've seen him around. They're kind of nervous. And that's what brings us to our next story.
Yes, it's called Hardcore Convert, and it's about Crazy K. And you see Crazy K just this angry fucking thug who immediately just kills somebody for talking shit, I guess.
Pops him.
Then he gets shot.
Yep.
I'm going to try and say this quickly. He gets shot. He's laying on the ground, and there's a big shootout with the cops. And you see the guys that shot him running away, and the cops are firing. They're firing at the cops. They all seem
by a fucking cop.
So Crazy K says, saved by the fucking cops. So he's like mad about it.
Yeah.
Ain't that a bitch? Then he is incarcerated.
Yep.
And this woman comes by and says she's going to put him in this special program, and he'll be out for
behavioral modification.
He goes in, he's in this like crazy underground that's almost like Clockwork Orange-esque.
Very I mean, it's right out of Clockwork Orange. Just showing him images and
he's next to this white supremacist who's just got these terrible tats all over him, and the white supremacist is basically telling this guy they're not that much different. Like, he kills black people and the African American kills black people and he's killing young black people.
So then they put him in the deprivation chamber, and they're showing him clips of gang murders and lynchings.
Real life pictures of lynchings. And then
that's terrible.
Just gang members shooting other gang members. And it's just really hammering home the point about black on black violence.
Yeah.
Like, he is not helping his community. He's doing the same thing that the racists are doing, which I just thought was, I loved it.
Yeah. They put him in a sensory deprivation chamber, just completely black. And they're basically torturing him. And that strobe light killed me.
I thought I was going to have a seizure.
I did too. I was like, oh my God, I get it now. I get those warnings because I think my brain's about to fry and I'm going to die. Like, I had to turn away. Like, it was really bad.
While he's in that chamber, the light is just flashed. So if you have epilepsy,
don't watch this. Please don't watch this.
While it's flashing, he's seeing the victims of people
all
he's killed.
Victims.
And he sees like the innocent girl that was just in that building and the bullet hit her. And the lady who puts him in there is like, I'm giving you a chance to change your life. Like, stop doing what you're doing. And he's still acting hard, still acting gangster tough guy. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about any of you. She's like, the choice is yours. You're free. And he stands up and he like holds the girl by her neck. And he's keeps saying, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to change, blah, blah, blah.
So he is dead. He is actually dying. He's still on the ground.
All this is taking place. So while he said, saved by the fucking cops, that is like right when this is all taking place. He's not being saved. He has a chance to be saved because he's in like purgatory right now. He can either say he's going to change his life and he'll be good to go, or he's keeping a piece of shit and he's just fucked.
He's dead.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And he's dead.
And Crazy K is dead. And that is the end of that.
Yes.
So we're back with the mortician and our three buddies, and they are furious to say the least.
They are very angry. They pull guns on the mortician because they know that he knows they are the ones who killed Crazy K.
They are the ones.
They are the gangsters that shot him.
Yep. And
they want to know how. They say, "I want to know how you know. How do you know that we did this?"
And he doesn't really explain it, but he says, "I'll take you to your drugs." And they say, "All right, but we're going to kill you after we get our shit." Yeah, sure. He brings him to the basement, and he's going a little cuckoo too. He's like rambling. And,
Oh, he's getting more and more eccentric as it goes on.
yeah, definitely. And he brings them to these 3 coffins and he says, "Open it up. That's where it is. I keep them in there." They open it up and it's the 3 of them in these caskets. They're themselves in the caskets.
And they are terrified. They actually did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
They're like, "What the fuck are we doing in here?"
Yeah, and it turns out Crazy K's crew came back and killed all 3 of them.
Yes.
And this scene, this is one of my favorite endings to like a horror movie.
It is perfect.
It's so good.
It is perfect.
And this guy is the best devil ever.
Did I agree?
They turn around and he goes, "This ain't no funeral home. It ain't the Terror Dome neither," which I don't even understand that line. But whatever. Oh, is it? Which is a reference to Mad Max, really.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. I was like, Mad Max reference. "It ain't the Terror Dome neither. Welcome to hell, motherfuckers."
And he just transforms into the fucking devil.
Into the fucking devil.
And the funeral home disappears and everything is fire.
Yeah,
The
just
kids are
fire.
This ending has to be talked about as like one of the best in horror movies ever.
I agree.
I loved it.
It was fantastic. And honestly, that might be the scariest representation of hell of all time. So like if you're a criminal going to hell, wouldn't it be awful for like you to have this like really troubling experience where they kind of like drag you through and you're just like getting pissed off and you're like, "I just want to get the fuck out of here." Like, and then it's the fucking devil and he terrifies you at the end and then
you go
announces you're in hell.
And you're there for
And that's just the welcoming. That's not even like your punishment. That's just like, welcome to hell.
Yeah.
Get ready for the rest of this shit.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know what the half of it.
Fucking great. And like the whole message about the street culture too. Like if you don't change your ways, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And that really wraps it up. Those are the 3 other ones we picked. There's a lot of other better ones besides Tales from the Hood. That one is top 3 without a doubt for me.
Yeah.
It was so good. But there's some other ones. VHS, ABCs of Death, Body Bags. You guys referenced a bunch. I know there was Cat Eyes.
Trilogy of
Terror. And we appreciate you guys sending those in. I'm sorry. We just don't have the time to go over all those. This is going to be like a 2-hour episode. But thank you guys so much again for listening. We really appreciate it. Oh, one announcement. So we're going to be going to a twice a month schedule instead of 4 times a month. So we'll be getting 2 episodes a month for us. We're sorry, but it just makes more sense with our schedule. We have a life and families that we have to deal with. And, but I think the episodes are going to be better that way. They're also not going to be limited to an hour. They're probably going to be right in that range, but if we go over, we're not so worried about it. And then the other cool thing is we'll be doing specials and things, and October will probably be an episode every week. But something like this where we want to talk about every anthology ever and bore you to tears, we will do, and we'll make it big like this one.
Yes.
So this is a good one to at least be a longer one. So tide you over for the next couple of weeks until our next episode.
Yeah.
So, guys, we really appreciate it. As always, we want to thank Harley Poe for allowing us to use the song Gorehound off the album Pagan Holiday. You can find them at harleypoe.com or facebook.com/harleypoe. Find us on Twitter at I Hate Horror Show.
At JoeV421.
Or on Tumblr, ihatehorror.tumblr.com. Our website, ihatehorror.com. Facebook.com/ihatehorror. And of course, the most important thing, we appreciate you downloading, but please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. We really need that. That's really what helps us. Guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you in a little while.
Thank you.
Adios.